KeithAndrewNetWork. The whole point of my talk show is to show you that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be, so prove them and stand out to something.
Hi, I'm Sofia Stefou. I'm an actor and producer based in LA. I have had the pleasure of being able to be interviewed by Keith Andrew. He is fantastic, really great, asking some really great poignant questions. So I highly recommend that you watch. And if you want, also be interviewed.
So the first question I want to ask you is tell our audience a little bit about your background and the type of work that you do.
Sure. Keith, really nice to meet you. My name is Sofia Stefou. I'm an actor and producer based in LA. And I basically I tell stories basically for a living.
Hey, if you want to write a book, you can write a book about me.
I haven't started writing any books just yet, but I'm happy to write a book about you.
And the reason I do that, the reason I bring it up, I'll do it, bring it up. People always tell me, I should write a book, and that's like, yeah, and we're using a special theme for today on the TV channels. As everyone looks at the top dial, we're at number 10. I can't turn it, but we're at number 10. What number 10 represents is 10 years of the Keith Andrew Network. We're close to 1,000 episodes. I believe, let me just take a fast look, and I have a bunch of these, a bunch of files. Your episode will be episode 981. So we are 19 episodes away from our goal of 1,000 episodes. So it's kind of fitting we have a TV dial. So if anyone wants to watch season 1, 2, 3, you just go reach out, turn it up. It would be nice if you actually can reach it out and turn it, right?
I know. Oh my gosh. Well, congratulations. That's amazing that you've made it this far in this many seasons. Like, fantastic. Good for you.
No, absolutely. So the next question, actually, a reason to bring it up is people are like, oh, you should, what's next to reach your 1,000 goal? And you always get these people like, oh, give me 15 seconds, give me 10 seconds every time. You want to be featured on TV? You want to be featured on Fox? I don't know why you want to be on Fox. Only idiots are on Fox. You want to be on Fox News? You want to be on CBS, NBC? Oh, I know that's going to probably bite me in the ass, but whatever, no offense. But, Fox News, ABC, NBC, CNN, give me 10 minutes of your time, give me 15 minutes of your time, and they all say the same, excuse my language, but it's uncensored, they all say the goddamn thing. Do you have a book? Do you have a book? Do you have a book? Oh, I have a disability and I don't know how to write a book. Well, you should have someone write a book for you. Do you have a book? Do you have a book? Well, let me ask you this. Do you have a book? Plus, they never actually answer it, but... so my goal to do 1,000 episodes, then do a party. This June, you're personally invited, and a whole bunch of other people, but I'd like to give you a personal invite. This June 10th, working on an event in the New York area for my 10-year anniversary. Now, knock on wood, if this COVID crap can settle down so I can have one day to myself. But there is my 10-year anniversary. I would love to have you with us. And I'm thinking, if I have people with us for the 10-year anniversary, I can take pictures. Then I have pictures for the book. But I'm going to be honest with you. I know a lot of people say, Keith, you should write a book. I guess I have my head up my ass. I don't feel like I accomplished what I needed to write a book. And a lot of people disagree with that, saying, no, you have a great story. You're on a spectrum of being retarded because you read and learn at a 5th grade level. You did 1,000 episodes. You met all these great people. That's a book right there. But I feel like if I wrote a book, then something grand and wonderful will happen afterwards, then I would have to write another one. So, Bo, the question I want to ask you is, I know you mentioned you didn't write a book yet, but if you would write a book about your life with everything that you accomplished, because you are an upcoming professional actress. Would you write a book about it?
I mean, I kind of feel like you, where, I wouldn't want to write it yet because I think there's still more left to come. That's the sort of, the short answer to that question. I guess, I don't know. I mean, people have asked me to think about that, but yeah, I think, I feel like if I'm going to write it, it will be probably more in the sunset of my life when I can, it's a wonderful opportunity to kind of look back on all the things that I've done and then be able to like reflect on that and enjoy it a second time. But I feel like right now I'm in the thick of like making things happen. So this is not the time to stop and, reflect. It's the time to kind of just keep going and see what more we can add to the book for later. So
no, absolutely. My brother and my sister always like to remind me, and I'm guilty of this. I live in the past. And I'm like, yesterday I was like, oh, well, let's catch up with old high school people. And all this nostalgia and bitterness. I'm like, why am I digging up the past? You don't dig in the past. You dig in the past if it's good memories. But yes, if someone crap all over you, it's like, they're dead and buried. But do you linger in the past, and do you think that's one of your problems?
You know what? No, I'm not really a person that does that. I really am, especially kind of almost, one of my challenges is not going into the future, because I tend to be sort of future oriented. It's really living in the present. It's like really taking everything moment to moment and day to day. That for me is what I strive to accomplish, because I think there's a lot of anxiety about, the future and what could happen. And, a lot of times for me, things that I think might happen don't, whether good or bad, and I think I have those, like a lot of people, I have expectations. And then when those expectations are not met, then it's disappointing. But, if I'm living in the present, there is no expectation, right? It's just, you're there, you're dealing with what's in front of you, and there isn't any sort of room for having expectations. And so, I try not to look in the past unless it's, there's something useful in there, right? Unless it's like something that I'm like, oh, hey, like, what did I do that could be a lesson that I learned that I want to, kind of bring back into the future, or into the present rather. That's the only time I try to look back. But otherwise I'm like really busy building new memories. So that's, I guess my point is like, I want to look back on those past memories much, much later in my life when I have not much more memories left. And, I'm not in a capacity to make more memories. I'm now at a place to be able to enjoy, the past memories a second time.
It's like this cartoon character, noodles, don't noodles. I'm trying to think of the quote without butchering it. History is in the past. The future is a mystery, but the reason they call it the present, it's because it's a gift.
That's very true. I agree with that. I think that's a really great sentiment. Yeah, exactly. It's the present is a gift, and we have to see it as that. So I do my best anyway. Certainly not.
No, I agree. I argue it's the Yoda aphorism. Do or do not. There is no try. And then I'm like, well, that's stupid. Either you do it or you don't, but can you try it? And then he say, well, I did it. And like, no, do or do not. I say, okay, Yoda, that's enough out of you.
Oh, Yoda.
It's kind of like when you're driving a car. It's kind of like, well, can I try? It's like, either you can take driving lessons, you will, or you will get accidents, you must.
Exactly. Do or do not. There is no try. I kind of find myself living by that philosophy a lot too. Just get it done, or, don't bother, like really just go for it or forget it.
Well, let's see, everyone. It's, tell me, read it to me like I'm a 5-year-old. Or when the other one is like, if you have a Band-Aid, you either pull it off slowly and you feel the pain, or just rip it off. Just tell me up front how you feel. I'm always one of those people like, yeah, well, I don't want to hurt your feelings or anything. And just tell me how you feel. Hey, Keith, I don't like you. Okay, thank you. You're an asshole. But at least be upfront. Don't say, well, I didn't want to hurt your feelings and anything. But I had to say, like, it's, look, this is not a soap. Well, if you look at my show, you think it's soap opera. But it's always better be upfront, be yourself. Just rip the Band-Aid off and say, this is how it is. And the pain will either make you stronger or either make you weaker. And make you stronger, saying, I learned from the lesson. I won't make the same mistakes again. Or you gotta be wuss about it and cry about it. Then eventually get over it.
Well, I think there's one, it's yes, you should face, any kind of problems and be willing to receive feedback. But I think there's a certain way in which you can tell feedback. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, okay, you're going to be truthful in what that feedback is, but that doesn't mean that you have to be an asshole when you deliver it. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a certain way to be able to just deliver feedback. And I'm certainly learning it more and more, is you can be direct without having to be mean about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that's where sometimes people have that, they have this idea in their head of like, if I'm not direct, then I'm an asshole. Or if I am direct, I'm an asshole. So I would rather not be, so I won't tell you the truth and I'll couch it in different ways, or I'll not call you back, or, ignore the problem type of thing, which to your point is more detrimental. But I think that's where I think there's this middle ground of being able to be direct without having to be mean. And I think all of us should strive to kind of get to that place where we can deliver that type of feedback.
Now, the next question I want to ask you is about disabilities. Besides me, obviously, have you worked with people with disabilities? And on that quote, even George Collins says, you can give your opinion to anyone. Everyone loves your opinion. But when you give your opinion to someone, like if you give me your opinion, that's okay, that's great. But if I give my opinion to you, then you're an asshole. You know how it is? It's okay for you to say this, but if I give you my opinion, but anyway, that's the same thing with disabilities, Some people are assholes. A lot of people, the reason I say that is a lot of people think, it's true in the most part. I used to use my disabilities as a crutch, as in, I don't have to take SATs, I don't have to take classes, or I just have to do the bare minimum. So I use my disability as a crutch, saying I don't have to do this, I don't have to do that. Before I turned 21, I'm like, okay, well, people are gonna feel sorry for me, and I will get what I want. Life doesn't work like that. You have to prove to them you can sell them out to something. Do the same thing everyone does day in, day out. You don't get special treatments. You don't get an award for second place. You don't get an award for trying. You either get first, second, or third, or you know what? You lose and you try again. You don't get any sympathy awards. That's a completely other subject. But a lot of people think about my show is you talk about disabilities. I don't see it. Maybe I put a good mask on. That's the thing. There's thousands of disabilities out there. Some are physical, some are mental. But that's the fact. If I did not have a disability and I was doing my show, first off, I would want God to throw lightning bolts at me. I don't want him to do that. I'd probably be burning in hell because that's a sin. But that's the fact. I do have a disability and I am doing what I love, and this is what I want to do to the day I die. Turn a weakness into a strength. So the question I want to ask you is, do you find people to be hypocrites when they say they have a disability, but it isn't really that bad? And have you worked with people with disabilities?
I was going to ask you to clarify what you meant by disability, because there's so many different facets behind that. But yeah, I mean, I have, worked and currently work with people who have disabilities, and I have friends of mine, who have physical disabilities or mental disabilities. So yeah, I mean, I've definitely been around people who have disabilities, and I think, I think for me, like the bottom line is, like, in general, for all of us, whether we have disabilities or not, our responsibility is just to do the best we can, because there's just definitely times that, things are easier for all of us. And then there's definitely times when things are tougher. And I think it's just a question of saying to yourself, like, what can I do today to be the best I can be, whatever that means? Because there's certainly challenges that, or certain things that, for example, with people with physical disabilities, they can do one thing, but they can't do another, right? And so or they have to get creative about how to solve that problem that they have. And I think that's the most that we can hope for, is just your responsibility to just be the best version of your be. And my job, when I work with people with disabilities, is just to, to understand that, and to be patient, and to really, not to give them a pass, you know what I mean? But to say, like, hey, what can we do together? If there's any support that I can offer to help you get to where you want to go, or if we're trying to work on something together, like, how can we work together to make that happen? So I guess that's the way I look at it. I don't necessarily give anybody a pass, but I do ask that they sort of do the best they can for that day also, because I know, even just as a regular growing, aging human being, that there's days that I feel great and I can, like, make anything happen. And then there's days that I don't. And I, have to be patient with myself to say, okay, today isn't going to be the day where we're going to, like, plow through a bunch of work. And I think that's the point, right? Is, like, we just have to be, I think, mindful and patient, but not coddling, like, it's not about coddling, but it is about the fact that, like, we are all different and we have to respect those differences.
No, absolutely. And my biggest mistake I do on my talk show is I like to give the guests most of the time. Everyone who heard from me heard the story almost 1,000 times. So I'm always like, give 2 minutes on me and the rest to our guests. So if I go on a little tangent, I do apologize.
Oh, good. No worries. No, it's great to have this conversation with you. And, you're asking some really great and important questions. So happy to follow along.
No, absolutely. Next one I want to ask is, what are you most likely to become famous for?
Oh, God. I don't know. And I don't want to know. I think the thing about fame is that, you don't always know what's going to hit. You don't always know what's going to resonate with audiences that it's going to really touch their lives. And so I think for me, I look at it as, like, I'm just going to, like I said, it kind of be the, the best version of myself. So, like, work on things that, I think I have a skill set in, and do the best that I can for every project that I have, and then release it into the world and sort of see what happens. But I mean, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were talking about, somebody was talking, I don't remember all the details because I just kind of, like, was into it midway, but he was talking about, I think it was Pulp Fiction, and how he had read the script and was like, man, I don't think this is going to do anything. And then, obviously it became the cult classic that it is. So that's the thing, I think, is, like, you can never really know. I mean, I felt the same way when I first was introduced to Twitter. I was like, I don't get this. This just seems weird to me. I didn't think it would ever take off. Oh, look at you.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah, so I don't know. I have no idea. And honestly, I would like to be pleasantly surprised.
Well, the one thing I do want to talk about while we're changing faces real fast.
Yeah, fun.
Is with everything with the pandemic, you can say pass on it. But a lot of people say I'm an asshole for phrasing it like this. Do you think it's a blessing and a curse? Because people always say Well, the first thing I want to say, it's a curse because of 10,000 people died. Number one, government lied about it. Number two, they could have been more prepared. So if you go out in public, wear a mask, get vaccinated, just do the right thing. Now, with that being said, how I see it as a blessing is people always say to you, oh, to me, and probably to you, I wish I can stay home for the rest of my life, work from home, I can get things shipped for me, just like the Jetsons, work and have everything shipped to you. But with everything going on, has this given you any time to reflect on your life during the pandemic? Unfortunately, a lot of innocent people died, and that's the curse. But with every curse, there might be a silver lining. So has this given you the time to sit back and reflect on your life?
Definitely. It's definitely, yeah, I love your little faces there. Yeah, it's definitely given me some time to reflect, and it gave me time to kind of be creative. Like I ended up writing a couple of comedy sketches, and then we ended up producing them as well, which I, probably wouldn't have done otherwise. I wouldn't have taken the time to do that, and I'm happy that I did. But yeah, I felt like this was the first time in my life that I had ever been sort of this alone, and it was a time for me to reflect and get to know myself much better. And I think that I definitely feel like I know myself that much better. So I'm glad that I got that time. I don't think that I needed that much time to reflect. I think 2 years was a long time to be reflecting, in my opinion. But I'm grateful that it was a time to kind of slow down a little bit, because I don't know that I would have. I don't know that I would have, but I love all your crazy little faces and stuff. I completely agree with you. I think it was like a blessing and a curse at the same time.
No, I agree. Now I'm going to ask you one more hard-hitting question, and I'll pass it over to you with the last 8 minutes. I want you to be brutally honest. When I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what made you say yes? How do you feel now, and what do you recommend to other people? So when you first got that email, what was your first reaction?
I'm always happy to chat with people, in interview settings. So I'm always like up for a nice chit chat with a host. So I'm always like game for it. So yeah, for me, it was like, yeah, absolutely. And now I think, I would definitely recommend people to watch the channel and to come and chat with you, because I think you're asking some really important life questions. And I think it's great.
No, absolutely. Now it's the last 8 minutes, and I'll pass it over to you.
Okay.
What is coming up on the horizon for you, and how can people get in touch with you?
Sure. I'm kind of working on a number of different things. So right now, I'm working on a holiday script. So we're trying to get that off the ground. Working on a couple of other scripts as well. One of the other things that we've added to my company is called VitaShare. So what we've also added is a sales division. So we are primarily working at, kind of looking at documentaries. So anyone who has a completed documentary that is perhaps maybe looking for even like an education side of their distribution, we can certainly help as a sales agent company to facilitate that for them. So it's just kind of like working on a number of different things. So in order to get in touch with me, I would say you can just email me. So it's Sofia, Sofia at VitaShare, VIDACHER digital.com. And that's the best way to get a hold of me.
No, absolutely. And what is your next project? I know you mentioned the education and you're writing scripts. Do you want to write a film, or are you in the process of writing a book?
So the project that I'm working on are features, right? So we're working at we either sell feature-length documentaries as one aspect of the company that we do, and then the other part of it is developing out feature films. So I'm like I said, not ready to write a book just yet. Just looking to produce feature-length scripts.
Well, if you're interested, I would love to work with you.
Yeah, sure. That sounds good. Yeah. Pass whatever you've got. Let me know.
No, absolutely. Now, what's the last couple minutes? I'm going to ask you some funny questions.
Sure, go for it.
When you were in high school and college, did you ever do any sports, or were you a party animal or study nerd?
A lot of study nerding. I did play. I was on the volleyball team in high school. I spent most of it riding the bench. I think I just did it to get out of class. And then in college, I didn't play any varsity sports, but what I did do is they were really great about giving us kind of like a gym pass. So I ended up taking a lot of different types of classes. I took Tai Chi, I took yoga, I took, fencing. Like I got an opportunity to sort of try a number of different types of sports to just kind of see, what I liked about them. And I thought that was really useful. So yeah, but mostly, I'm such a nerd that I studied marketing in my undergrad, and I actually read my advertising textbook for fun. I just read it cover to cover because it was just like fascinating to me. So yeah, I'm that nerd that's like reading books for fun.
Well, I fall under the same category because I like this stuff. People think I'm a loser. Did he ever get a chance to do one of those human pyramids, or would you be interested in doing some?
Maybe I've done one, but I don't remember it. If the opportunity presents itself, but I just find like as people get older, those are tougher to do because, someone's gonna sprain a hip or something. So, I guess I'd be into it, but it would be cool.
Say never.
Yeah, exactly. Never say never, but I just am like, it's like, just, you become more delicate as you age, right? You can't do all the same things anymore. So.
And the reason I bring it up is for the Keith Andrew Network, we interview actors, actresses, models, CEOs, professional wrestlers, people with heartwarming stories. And I'm like, okay, this is good from like 18 to, 60, whatever. But how can you get the younger demographics? So I interview voiceover actors, and I'm like, let's do some cartoony stuff. So we do some circus acts like the pyramids. We do voiceovers from Dumbo to Jungle Book. So the Keith Andrew Network is a variety show. So there is something for every single age out there. So if anyone who's interested, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe. Our goal for this episode is to reach 100 views. And once we do, we can definitely do a part 2. But I do have a couple questions for you off the air. This will be also aired on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. So our goal is 100. But with that being said, it was a real honor and privilege to have me as a guest. I'm looking forward to part 2 down the road. I want to say thank you and happy holidays to everyone watching and to our guests. Our next event will be on December 18th at 8 p.m. Eastern. I would love to have you with us. I should have an event for all the kid actors who I ever interviewed. If they're interested, that will be on December 17th. That's why I moved the days apart so I could do one episode in the other. So that may or may not work out, but December 18th, 8 p.m., that is definitely going to happen. Then our next big event, June 10th, working on the detail of that for my 10-year anniversary. But with that being said, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. It was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to working with you down the road. Until we meet again, catch you later.
Catch you later. Thank you, Keith.
Thank you, and have a good night.